there we have it. It is marvelous. It looks hideous, but it's marvelous. Hello and welcome to another video. So this is part 5 of the series, and yeah, I have a link in the description for the entire playlist, and it's gonna pop up on the screen right now as well. The modeling part is gonna wrap up, well, next video, so next part. But yeah, after that we're gonna start working on the shaders, and we're gonna be making all the shaders ourselves. So it's gonna be full on procedural down in this city or whatever. Anyway, I'm not gonna waste any more time. Let's move on to the video. Let's try and be done with everything that's in the shower room back there. I'm gonna get back into render view so I can take a look at everything. And for this, I'm gonna have to turn up the alpha value for my background image on the camera, because otherwise I can't actually see what's going on, can I? And I'm just gonna randomly eyeball this. So say over here, I'm gonna add in a cube. Now it's kind of hard to see the cube over here. To be honest, it's not that hard, it's right here. But I am gonna give it a color. So let's just give it a black material, give it a color, and then I'm gonna get into edit view and scale this all the way down. I'm gonna press the period key on the numpad to zoom in over here, and that way I can scale it down further. And I'm gonna try to move it up here to this edge. So I believe it is right here, so this point. So let's just move it up here, and then I'm gonna have to move it along the Y here and then move it down. I'm gonna keep it inside a little bit. Okay, and then I'm gonna select this bottom face over here. Why is this enabled? Disable this, enable snapping, and I'm gonna G, Z, and just click over here. So like on this bottom vertex, and make sure that you tap Z, otherwise it will snap it this way. But yeah, I want it to go straight down, so GZ. And then I'm gonna select this face over here, the one that's facing me, G, and just slide it along over here, along the X-axis, just until it reaches that place. Now I can just duplicate this, press X again, and move it over on the other side. And I want a tiny little gap in between them. That should do. And I'm gonna do the same thing. So select this face. I'm gonna G, X, and just click over here on this vertex. So it'll snap to that. Now in the real world, this back area shouldn't really be going through it. So I'm gonna just select this. I'm gonna shift tab to disable snapping. And I should probably enable screencast keys right now. Okay, so G, X, and I'm gonna move it out of the wall. So not touching it, I want it to be a bit away from the wall. Okay, and then I'm gonna add in another cube, and I'm gonna scale this cube down. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove this material from, well, both of these surfaces. So just remove that and remove that. And I am going to give that material to this thing now, so I can take a look at that. It's right here. Okay, so G, Y, move it out, move it up, and just place it around here. So it's just holding the glass. You don't really need to worry about modeling it much. Just make sure that you, well, make sure that both sides are sort of even in size. So just that should be enough. Also, it's really small, so yeah, don't sweat it. Now it's a good time to give these a glass shader. So I'm gonna call this glass, and I'm gonna give the same shader to this thing. And then I'm going to just come down here and turn up the transmission to, well, the maximum value. I'm going to disable the overlays here to take a look at the glass itself. And yeah, decrease this roughness as well. So like for now, I'm just going to keep it at 0 and just re-enable the overlay to make sure that it's the same size. And it turns out it is really nice. Okay, so in order to make this thing over here, I'm just going to duplicate this. So Shift D and just slide it along over here on this side. And now I believe I can turn down that alpha once more. So just turn that alpha down. All right, so just get into edit view. And for this one, let's take a look at this. So this one is a separate object, and this is a separate object as well. And they're roughly the same size. So let's just make one of them, and then we can duplicate it over, right? I'm gonna Control B, just this area. So I can only, it only renders that bit, and turn on the overlay once more. All right, so let's just scale it up, move it down. And I'm gonna have to move this side up, move this side back here, and let's make sure that this is over here as well. So just like that. And then I can just duplicate it in edit mode. So I can just move it over here. Around about here should be fine. And for this bit, I can just duplicate this. So just press L when you're hovering over this to duplicate it. Well, to select it, and then you can duplicate it and just move it out of the body. And I'm gonna just... Now I'm not gonna look at this right now. I kind of know how it works. So the way this thing works is it's gonna be like this. And technically there's supposed to be this bit over here. That should be a bit thicker. That goes into that. Alright, so that acts as the lock thingamajiggy. Anyway, so right now I'm gonna join both of these together because technically they're the same material, right? Like they're both metallic and stuff. So I'm gonna add in a bevel modifier to this, but I'm not going to add a subsurface division because it's really small and we're already reaching like more than 100,000 vertices in this though. So, you know, just try to avoid details that we don't actually need. And just make sure that you shade it smooth and obviously turn on auto smoothing, even though we shouldn't really, you know, it shouldn't really make a difference as long as you set this to angles. Actually, it does make a tiny difference because if you take a look over here, it's kind of smoothing it, but it shouldn't be because it's metallic and there's a bevel here. 1, 2. Just trying out different settings, so just ignore that. Okay, so now that that's done, let's do the shower head, okay? And for the shower head, you can take a look at it. It's kind of starting from over here and then it's going outward. So I'm gonna just right click here, create a circle, rotate it so it's like this, and press F to add in a face and extrude it out. And this is gonna, well, cause this kind of monster to appear. And that's because I have backface culling on, which is a good thing because that tells me that the normals are messed up. So I'm just gonna flip those normals and it's gonna be fixed. Okay, and over here I'm gonna press Ctrl B and just select all of this thing so it renders everything. And I'm gonna scale this thing down now. And just trying to look at where the shower head is supposed to be, I'm having trouble seeing it again. So yeah, this is kind of repetitive. I'm just gonna have to increase this alpha again. Give this that same material that I can easily see through everything, and I still can't see it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it an emission material, and I still can't see it. So playing with the alpha a little bit, let me see it now. And I'm gonna just move it up here. So this is what it's supposed to be. Move it down, scale it down, scale it up. Yeah, that should be good enough. Again, this is a background detail, so it doesn't really need to be perfect. First, I'm gonna fix this origin thing though. So just origin to geometry. Okay, and then I'm gonna press backslash, this thing. It should be right next to your shift key. And then I'm gonna get into this view. Actually, let's do this first. And press E to extrude it. And I'm gonna extrude it all the way till this area. So move it along, further, just a little further, say this one. Okay, and now I'm gonna move it down. So over here you can see the shower is kind of straight, but again, we don't really know if it was actually straight or not, if it's just looking like it's straight. There is a possibility that it has some inclination, so just don't worry about it. We're not trying to be perfect over here. Select all of this end loop over here, and you do that by Alt, Shift, and click. And Shift D, rotate it by 90. And now I'm going to select both of these again, right click, bridge edge loops, and just over here, you can press F9 to open this window anywhere, by the way, this same window. So F9. And I'm going to increase the number of cuts to something like 4. And smoothness can stay the same, don't really care about it. And then I'm going to move it further until it reaches, say, this bit. Okay, so get into wireframe mode and move this bottom one a bit further down. All right, and now I'm gonna not rotate this. I'm gonna first create this thing, the shower head, and then rotate it. So I'm just gonna scale it down straight and just scale this up a little bit and then extrude it once more and then scale it up again and then extrude it down, just like that. But it's really small, so just gonna select all of these, S, Shift Z, and just scale it up. Just a bit down though. I'm gonna select all of these because they look a bit too thick to me, so just gonna scale that down. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select all of these, rotate them just like that. And as you can see, it's not really looking like it's flat. So I'm gonna have to rotate this along this axis as well. There we go. Just right click this, shade smooth, and turn on auto smoothing obviously, and fix this geometry issue by just adding a face over here at the end. And that should be it. Now this is something that's out in the background, so you know, all of these, well, this pinching and all of that stuff, don't really worry about it. If you do worry about it, then just add in one subsurface division and add in some supporting geometry over here. So just these loop cuts should do the trick. For this bottom one, you can just select this face and Control V. Anyway, let's get out of this isolation view right now and make sure that this is fine as well. There. Let's create this exhaust fan, or you know, whatever it's called. So it should be right around here. Let's scale this down and let's give this that same color so we can take a look at it. G, Y. Make sure that the size matches. Then I'm going to try to make sure that the thickness matches. So G, X, right around here. You can kind of see it from this side. And just make sure that the back side isn't, you know, all the way out there. So G, X, and move it in. Right around there. Move this up. All right, so the way I'm going to achieve this is I'm just going to add in loop cuts over here and use proportional editing. So let's try and select the central one. I'm going to get into this isolation view. Which one is the center one? So this one. So I'm going to just select both of these vertices, press O to enable this proportional editing tool, move it along the X, but use my mouse to sort of do this. All right, and now we're gonna need to add in some loop cuts. So just take a look at this geometry over here. There's one panel that's this one, then there's a gap, then there's this panel, and then it's just laying on top of the wall. We do have it a bit too thick right now, so we're gonna make it a little bit thinner. So let's disable proportional editing by pressing O and move this up, but I have to select all of these. So GX, move it up. Something like that is good enough. I'm going to keep it back here for now though. I'm just going to add in another loop cut. Let's select all of these and we're going to press E to extrude and S to scale. Doesn't matter how much you scale them, we just want that gap to appear. And then for the back piece, actually I'm going to try to keep it like this and see what it looks like in the actual render. So by disabling this thing, okay, so it's still a bit too thick. Let's make it wide so I can actually see it easily. Okay, so let's select all of these back. So press C to circle select and you can just drag your mouse on these. Press escape to cancel the circle select. G, X, move it in. And I'm gonna just Control B this area. Okay, so finally there needs to be a circle over here as well. So I'm just gonna add in, say, these loop cuts. And then gonna add in 4 more here. 4 here, 4 here. Get into front view and I'm going to select the central. Now I still can't see it, and that's because I kind of messed up and gave this on the back side. So let's just repeat those steps on the front side now. So I'm just going to select these, Control plus, and this is going to cause some issues. So I'm going to have to add in some supporting geometry over here before I right click, loop tools, circle, and just extrude this in. Control plus, and I'm going to make this smaller. And I'm going to give this edge a different material. So create, new, and I'm going to actually make a black material that I'm not going to delete this time. And it's actually going to be black. Who would have thought? There you go. Okay, so this thing and this entire thing needs to be a lot more flatter. and on the wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this central piece, Control plus until everything is selected. Oh, never mind. I'm going to have to circle select. There you go. And I'm going to SX0. That's going to make the back panel, well, you know, flat. And then you can make it smaller. I believe so it should be around this bit. I can get out of isolation view and actually put this on the back. I'm gonna shade it smooth and turn on auto smoothing, by the way. Enable snapping and G, X, and just snap it back over here. Now where it's located needs to change, and for that I believe I need to just slide it around a bit. So G, Y, and move it here. G, Z, move it up here. And I should probably also scale it up. So S, and scale it up in the S direction a little bit, and just a bit in the Y direction. All right, so that is good enough for my taste. It needs to be a bit more thicker. Okay, that's because a bit of it is outside, so just move it out. So G, X, and move it out. All right, so that's the shower room done. And, you know, we're kind of speeding up things from now on. I'm gonna change the materials though. Oh, actually, bonus thing. All right, so bonus thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a material as well. So let's just get rid of this black material from both of these things and add in a metallic material. So yeah, we're finally adding some materials to our stuff. Let's add in a metallic material and yeah, that's decent enough. And give that to this as well, at least for now. Metallic. And I can just remove this black material from this thing. Let's move the light away over here. And you'll notice that that makes this bit a lot darker. But what you'll also notice is if I put the light out here, you can see the reflection over here. This reflection. Who would have thought? Obviously, it's not perfect because mirrors have distortion and all of that stuff. But yeah, I'm going to try and render this out. I'm going to actually put another light out here and make... let's make it... Actually, no, I can't. Then it appears in the window. What happened to this thing? Oh, let's fix that as well. Let's just create a new material, call it, say, white, and move this up, assign it, and this entire edge can just be assigned to this thing. Yeah, I kind of messed up when I deleted that material, didn't I? You know what? I'm going to select this, add in a light, call it an area, G, X. So it's pointing inward. Move it over here so it's just behind the window itself. Scale it along the Y, scale it along the Z. And I'm gonna make this a portal. And I'm going to change this power to something like 500. 1000, yeah, and turn up the world's strength, so something like 4. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna see you guys once this is rendered. Okay, I can't possibly stop working on this before the video is even 20 minutes long, so you know, let's open this back up and get back to work. Yeah, I kind of forgot to make this bit, so press I over here, and I'm just gonna let's take a look at this. Oh, my bad, I can't actually swear. Let's take a look at this, okay? Let's come over here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna turn on the overlay. There you go. Don't even need to render this, okay? Just do it over here. Let's create a cylinder and make it small, small, small. Did I flip this? Oh god, I accidentally flipped it. Okay, make it small, small, small. Not that small. Move this up and let's scale this up so it's right about that big, and then deal with this bottom bit, okay? So there you go. And now I'm gonna do the most how do I say this, lazy thing in the entire world, and I am just going to extrude this forward till it gets to here, and then extrude it forward again, and then get into side view. Select all of these vertices, move it up, move this down, move this down. You know what, that can stay, because I'm gonna add this here and scale this down. Move this up. What's going on with this? Oh, it's round, that's why. Don't worry about it then. Oh, and Let's just create this over here. Move this down. There we have it. It is marvelous. It looks hideous, but it's marvelous. Yeah, it's not thick enough. This boy needs to be chunky. So scale this along the X. Scale this along the X. And scale this along the X as well. And let's shade this smooth and turn on auto smoothing. And while we're at it, let's add in a bevel modifier. And let's also add in one subsurface division. And then decide on why this isn't working. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? The same problem that always happens. And make this angle. All right, so now we still have a problem where, so to fix this problem, come here, edit, view, and clipping, and just make this, there we go. And just add this all the way over here, and add this one here, and this one there. You know what? Why am I spending so much time on this? It's so small. Like, it doesn't matter. Small things don't matter. All right, is that it? I know there's toothbrushes over here as well, and I know this needs to be done as well, and I know that there's this curtain thing here as well. Let's do the curtain thing. Shift right click, add in a cylinder, 90, make it small, move it forward, scale it along the Y, till it reaches just about here. And the thing with this is we can't actually see it anywhere else. So we're kind of stuck with this view. Huh, good thing we actually took a look at it. Move it here, move it down. And let's just extend this over to say this much. Well, that area. I wonder how it's attached at the back. Does it matter? No, it doesn't, right? But what does matter is this thing. So I'm going to add in a Bezier curve here. Bezier curve, there we go. Gonna rotate this by 180, actually 90, and move this up here. Let's move this inside. So I'm gonna get into edit views, select everything, scale X0 to make it straight. So let's move this bit inside, okay? So move this here, and then we can play with this one. Now I'm not gonna do this the same way that that is done. That is just too much effort. Instead, I'm gonna move this here, and let's move this one here. Move it down. Like, I'm not gonna try to copy this one for one because that would take forever, and that's also, you know, it's not. I'm not getting paid for this, you know. I'm just kidding. I love doing this stuff for you guys. Okay, just gonna move this over here. Make it nice and thin. And oh, this needs to be shaded smooth. Okay, and now I want to kind of attach this right up top. So the way you do that is just to scale this down over here. This here, and then extrude this up. Scale this up. Move this bit over here. And move this bit over here. And let's move this bit out as well. Okay, and this one can just be here. And this is just a tiny little clip. So I'm just gonna create a cube, move it down, scale it down along the y-axis, just like that. Move this bit up a little bit, move it along the y-axis, turn this off, and I can't actually see it, and that's because this window is way too out of the wall. So let's fix that, shall we? G, X, and this one needs to go out as well. So I kind of should have selected all of them together. So this and this. Oh, it's because I didn't select this thing. All right, close enough. And finally, something that I noticed in the render is that these bottom edges need to be a little bit further down. Okay, I need to disable this. So let's get into the camera view, take a look at the render preview, and it's looking nice. I am gonna disable, I'm gonna change the color for that. So let's just change that black to, well, the default one, which is no material. And let's make sure that the string is visible. Yes, it is. I'm gonna give that ending thing a metallic texture as well, and kind of make it a little bit big as well. So let's come here, not you. Oh, it's big enough. Why is it not visible? Let's shade it smooth. And let's do auto smoothing. Let's select the top edge as well and the bottom edge. Control B. There you go. Control plus GZ. Make it small and give it the metallic texture as well. Alright, and now I'm gonna render this and meet you guys again. Okay, so the modeling part is wrapping up. There's just minor things that are left and we will be done with those hopefully in the next video. I'm gonna make sure we're done with those in the next video. And after that, I'm gonna make one video where I just quickly do a quick overview of everything that we've achieved. And then we'll move on to the actual material shaders and creating our materials ourselves. I have decided that I'm gonna try to avoid using free textures, and I'm gonna see if I can make the material nodes myself and, you know, talk you guys through the entire process as well. I feel like learning procedural materials, even basic ones, is a skill that everyone should have. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe if you're still listening to me for some reason. So yeah, share this with your friends, by the way, if anyone wants to learn render or, you know, just making a house or bathroom or whatever. I'm just gonna leave now. I've been talking too much.